In this video, I want to talk about how you develop a niche finder's mindset or a niche finder's mindset, depending on how you care to pronounce it. And in doing so, you need to look at the world slightly differently. You need to develop a sort of an outside of the box way of thinking. Now, there are practically an unlimited number of niches out there. You've got business-related niches, hobby niches, personal development niches, the list just goes on and on. And sometimes the most profitable niches can actually be the most unglamorous ones. Why? Because not many other people are marketing to them. So that leaves the field wide open for you. Now, think about it this way. Any problem or need is a niche. Any hobby or interest is a niche. Anything that can make people's lives easier, happier, or more fulfilled is a niche. So, to put it simply, what you have to do is find a void and fill it. And that's actually easier than you think. When it comes to problems that people face, either in their personal life or in their business life, when it comes to things to do with hobbies or pastimes, sometimes people can be so close to the problem that they literally can't see the forest for the trees. They really can't. They're so focused on the problem that they do not see the bigger picture. Now, that gives you an advantage because you can see things from a distance because you're not so close to the problem. You can look at the problem from a different angle from the one that they're looking at. You can look at the problem from a greater distance than they're looking at. And you might see the answer looking, staring them straight in the face, but they can't see it, but you can. And that's where you have the advantage. Now, how do you do that? Well, quite simply, you have to look at the world through the eyes of a problem solver. If, like me, you're a fan of the Sherlock Holmes stories by Arthur Conan Doyle, you'll know that Holmes lets the facts lead him to the conclusion, and he will look at something objectively and he will deduce what happened or who's done something from what he sees. Well, the thing is, you need to apply the same principles to niche research as Sherlock Holmes does to finding an answer. And if you do that, well, quite simply, you can't go wrong because you're going to find the answers, and the answers are in the niches. And once you have the answer, you have the niche. And if it's not a particularly glamorous niche, if it's something that's a rather unglamorous problem that needs to be solved, not a lot of other people are going to be going after it, and that gives you the advantage. In this video, I want to give you some tips for finding good affiliate niches. And there really are three main sites that you want to look at to find these good affiliate niches. And the first one is ClickBank. And ClickBank is probably the granddaddy of all online affiliate marketing sites. When you're looking at ClickBank, and I'll show you their site in a moment, one thing you want to check is the gravity. The gravity is a measure that shows how popular an item is, and that includes how many affiliate sales have been made. And that will tell you whether or not this affiliate product is selling well, and if the gravity is high in a particular category for a lot of the top selling products, then that will give you an idea as to whether or not that is a niche that's worth marketing to. When you do decide on an affiliate product to market via ClickBank, make sure that the vendor offers you sufficient tools for you to promote it easily. To find out more about ClickBank, come here to clickbank.com and click on the Marketplace tab, and it'll take you to this page, and then you can browse the categories down there on the left, or you can use a search to find products. Alternatively, you can come here to CB Engine, which will help you to find ClickBank products. They do recommend products, and they do help you to sift through products much more easily. The next site I want to tell you about is JVZoo. Now, JVZoo is a bit like ClickBank, but it offers instant payments via PayPal. And you can find out more about JVZoo at jvzoo.com. And the final site I want to tell you about is Warrior Plus. And Warrior Plus is aimed mainly at the internet marketing niche. And they're linked to WSOs, that's Warrior Special Offers, on the Warrior Forum. And you can find out more about Warrior Plus at warriorplus.com. And these three sites are the best ones to check out, not just to find an affiliate niche, but also to find affiliate products to sell to that niche. In this video, I want to talk about doing niche research or niche research, depending on how you care to pronounce it, the wrong way. And sadly, this is the way that most newbies approach niche research. And sadly, it's also the way that some so-called gurus tell you how to do it. Okay, the first thing that you're recommended to do is to pick an evergreen niche. Now, what do I mean by evergreen? Well, I mean things like weight loss, fitness, dating, get your ex back, sports, particularly sports that require a lot of money to be spent on them, sports like golf, where there's lots of expensive equipment to buy and there's lots of tutorials and all that other sort of stuff. And of course, internet marketing or make money online. So you're starting out, you don't know anything at all, but you think that you're going to go into the internet marketing niche. So you can make money by telling other people how to make money, by telling other people how to make money. So you sell stuff online about making money online, and that makes money online, and the whole thing goes round and round and round. So you think, or so you're told to think. And so what these people do, or what most newbies do, is they'll go to the Google Keyword Planner and they'll find out what keywords get the most searches. Because they figure that if it's a popular niche, if it's a popular topic, if there's more searches, then they're going to make more sales. You know, there's 1 million searches for this particular keyword, so if only 1% of people buy my product for $9.99, well, you do the math. So they look through sites like Amazon or ClickBank to find which niche has the most products to sell. And of course, the more expensive that product is, or the higher the commission is on that product, the better, because they're just looking at it from a money-making perspective. They think it's all a numbers game. The more I can sell at the higher commission, then obviously the more profit I'm going to make, which is true to a certain extent. But you have to do it properly, and this way is not the proper way to do it. Next thing that they'll do is they'll buy a domain name that has nothing to do with the niche, you know, bobswebsite.com or something similar, because they figure, well, if it doesn't work out, we can always use it for something else. Then they'll buy some PLR articles, or better yet, they'll get them for free, copy and paste it and put it straight up into their WordPress blog without any changes whatsoever. Then they've probably got a coupon from Google AdWords that gives you so much free traffic, so they'll use that to drive some traffic to the website using those really popular keywords that they use the Google Keywords tool to find in the first place, not realizing that once the amount of money that's on the free coupon has run out, they're going to be faced with a massive bill because these keywords are going to be very expensive. But they set all that up, and then they fail miserably. They lose a ton of money, and they get disheartened, and they give up. And probably worse than that, they come to the feeling that everybody involved in IM is a crook, and that the whole thing is a big con. And it's not hard to understand why they feel that way. Now, before we go any further, let me just state one thing for the record before people think, hang on a minute, what about evergreen niches? Well, there's nothing wrong with an evergreen niche, but Most are oversaturated. These are the niches that lots of people want to get into, and lots of people are already in them. And the leading players in these niches are very well established. You've got people who've been in IM for many, many years. They've got massive lists. They've got all sorts of websites out there. They're up on the top of Google for practically every keyword because they've been there for so long. They know how to play the system. And the keywords in these niches are fiercely competitive. Again, because it's so oversaturated and because the leading players have been there for so long, then there's a lot of competition to get the really good keywords that are going to get you to the top of Google. And the AdWords for these particular niches are very expensive for the same reasons. So if you're trying out this way, if you're starting out this way, then, well, quite frankly, you're setting yourself up to fail. And so many people do this. So many people think that this is the way to do it. So many people are told that this is the way to do it, and it's all completely wrong. In this video, I'm going to talk about doing niche research or niche research the right way. And when it comes to doing niche research the right way, on finding a niche that you want to start marketing to, the best thing is to start with what you know. So the easiest niches to find and dominate are the ones that you've got some experience in. And when you think about it, you know more than you think you do. And you've got more experience than you think you have. Everybody does. Everybody has done lots of different things throughout their lives. So you know a lot more than you think you do. And you've more experience than you think you have. Now, when it comes to finding niches, there are basically three broad categories that most niches are going to fall into. And those are work and business, hobbies, and personal life. And just about everything out there could fall into one of these three broad categories. Now let's talk about work and business for a moment. Have you run a business in the past? Are you running one right now? Now, don't count your internet marketing business unless you've been running it for a long time and you've made a ton of money. You really don't want to start going into the IM niche until you really know what you're doing and you really know what you're talking about. If you don't have a business, have you had a job in the past? Are you working in a job right now and internet marketing is perhaps just a sideline venture for you? What jobs have you done in the past? Have you always been in the same career? Have you done other things as well? That's something else that you need to think. Think back to every single job that you've ever done. Because you see, all businesses have certain things in common. They're all going to have similar things that people who are in them, running them, need to know. And each thing that all these businesses have in common is a potential niche, and it's a potential broad niche that can cover lots of different businesses. That said, other things are unique to each business sector. Somebody running a manufacturing business, like we see in this picture, is going to have different challenges, different issues, different problems than someone who's running a service business, like, say, a restaurant. So each of those is also a different potential niche. So what business sector or industry have you been involved with? Well, that's a niche, because your business isn't the only one out there. There's going to be plenty of other competitors, either close to you or in other parts of the country or in other parts of the world. So what do other business owners in your industry want, need, or should know about? Or, to put it another way, what have you wanted, needed, or wished you'd known about in the past? Things that you wish you knew, that you had to find out the hard way, and now you know. Well, that is a niche, that is a potential product, a potential information product to people who are in that niche. And the same holds true with a job. Every job you've ever done is a potential niche, because other people who still do that job are a potential market. And so are their employers, because obviously if you employ someone in a job, you want them to do that job more efficiently, because obviously that increases your profitability. So think about it. What problems have you overcome that others might be facing right now in your job? For example, did you have to study for any industry certifications? And if you did, and if you did well on the exam, well, your notes and everything, well, they're a potential product right there, and you've got a potential niche of people who are studying for that certification who would probably pay you for the inside information as to how to pass the exam and get the certifications. And what tools, equipment, software, and so on would have made the job easier, or would make the job easier if you're still doing it? That's another big market when you're marketing to people who are working in a job. Okay, let's talk about hobbies, because there are as many hobby niches as there are hobbies. If you think about all the different hobbies that there are out there. And enthusiasts are often prepared to pay big bucks for the latest piece of equipment, or for learning how to do something that's related to their hobby, or for information that will give them the inside edge, particularly if it's something like gaming or some sort of competitive sport. So inside information as to how to get the competitive edge over somebody else is going to be a big market. So ask yourself, do you have a hobby? What is it? What have you just bought, accomplished, or would like to have? And what do you know about it now that you wished you'd known when you first took it up? Again, the hobby is a potential niche, and the information that you know that a lot of people who are starting out in it don't know is the foundation for a good potential product, because you know about it and therefore you can position yourself as an expert. And when it comes to the personal niche, then personal life covers many, many topics and niches. Things like relationships, child rearing, overcoming adversity, things to do with your home. It's practically unlimited. So again, ask yourself, what have you accomplished in your life? What obstacles did you overcome? What are you the most proud of? And how can your experiences benefit others who might be in a similar position? And you don't have to be all philosophical here. It can be something practical. It can be something about hanging wallpaper, or how you painted a door. It doesn't have to be, how you rescued your marriage or brought up your kids. It can be anything, any type of subject that's to do with your personal life is a potential niche. Now, once you've decided on a potential niche, and I recommend that you draw up a list of several potential niches, ones which you could easily go into because they're things that you know a lot about, then you need to dive deeper into it. And first and foremost, you want to ask yourself, is it one where people have money to spend? If it's not a niche where people have money to spend, then it's not worthwhile getting involved in it, because after all, at the end of the day, you're doing this niche research to find a niche to sell to make money. So if the people who are in that niche don't have money to spend, then it's not worth getting involved. Second thing is, can you deliver value for money? And that's very important, because that's what people really want today. It's a value for money. And if you can't deliver value for money in this niche, then again, it's time to drop that one and think of something else. And finally, is there potential for more than one type of product? Or to put it another way, are you going to be able to build a sales funnel? Or is there so much stuff being given away free in this niche that it's not worth the effort? Are there any competitors? If there are no competitors, you need to ask yourself why. there should be some competition, because if there's no competition, it could well mean that, quite frankly, this isn't a niche that's worth selling to. Or it could mean that you're the first person there, at which case it's a wide open field. But sadly, that sort of thing doesn't really exist anymore. What are your competitors selling? Can you come up with something that's better, cheaper, or higher quality? And also, I could have added here, if you do have competitors and they are selling stuff, is there affiliate programs that you could sign up to so that you could sell the same stuff for them? And finally, do you have what it takes to dominate this niche and become the go-to guy or go-to gal in it? And if it's something that you know about, then there's a good chance that you do. And you can establish yourself as an expert in this niche very, very quickly. In this video, I want to talk about how you tackle a subject that you don't know much about, or how you can find a niche that you're not familiar with and decide whether or not you want to market to it. Now, it's much harder to dominate a cold niche than one you already know a lot about, but it's not impossible. However, you must choose carefully, and you must do your homework and make sure that you know what you're doing, because it's very easy to fail this way. So the first thing that you want to do is you'll want to carry out some research online to not only find the niche in the first place, but also to assess its viability and its profitability. And there are several sites online which can help you do this. Okay, the first site to look at is Google Trends, which you can find here at google.com/trends. And this gives you an idea as to the rising and falling searches on Google and how popular a particular topic is. You can explore the categories. You can go from this drop down here. So you can have things that are related to business or entertainment or health, science and technology, sports, top stories, and so on. And you can have them from just the United States, or you can have a particular country elsewhere. You see the whole list here of things that you can look at. Also, you can type in a search term or a website URL in here, which will give you a breakdown as to how often that particular search topic is looked for. Let me just scroll down a bit so you can see the rest of the page. You can see these are all the popular ones in the United States at the time that I'm making this video. There we go. Okay. Okay, the next one is to find the best-selling items on eBay, and it's Terapeak. And this is a service that works in conjunction with eBay, and they will give you a lot of data about the best-selling items on eBay. So you get an idea as to what's popular on eBay at the moment. It's rather a long URL to log into, so if you just go to pages.ebay.com/marketplace_research, you'll be prompted to sign in to your eBay account, and then it will take you to this page, and you can watch the video that explains it in a lot more detail than I can. Then there's Amazon bestsellers, which you'll find here at amazon.com/GP/bestsellers. And this lists all the bestsellers in various categories on Amazon. Let's just scroll down a bit so you can see better. So you've got toys and games, electronics, camera and photos, video games, books, clothing, and so on. And also, if you've been a regular user to the site, you'll have some featured recommendations based on what you've recently looked at on the site. Now, you can also go down and explore by department. You can see here, which will give you a much deeper insight as to what's selling best on Amazon. Last one I want to show you here, and that's What's Trending, which you can find here at whatstrending.com. And this gives you an idea as to what's trending on social media at the moment. Just scroll down here, you can see all sorts of things here. And it comes from various social media sites, Twitter, Facebook, that sort of thing. You got videos that are trending and so on. You've got more trending things here and so on. And so, and these are sites that you can look at to get more of an idea as to what's popular online right now. So once you've had a look online to assess this niche's profitability and to decide whether or not it's one you might like to market to, then you want to carry out some further research offline just to carry on and make sure that it is going to be viable. And the first thing that you want to do is to go down to your local newsagent or your local newsstand and take a look at the magazines. Because if a publisher is prepared to put time, effort, and money into publishing a magazine on a subject, then it's a potentially lucrative one. Think about it. It costs money to print a magazine. It costs money to pay journalists to write up all the articles. It costs money to pay the photographers to take the photographs. It costs money to print it and to distribute it and so on. And if it's a magazine that's been around for a while and is published fairly frequently, then you'll know that it's a potentially lucrative niche. And the more magazines, the larger the niche, because obviously each magazine needs to turn a profit. But of course, the downside to that is the more magazines there are, the greater the competition is likely to be. So you might have a harder time dominating this niche. But also, the flip side to that is there may be more affiliate products to sell as well. And trade journals are great for identifying smaller specialist business-related niches, because if there is enough interest for a trade journal to publish and to turn a profit, then it shows that that niche is a viable one, but it may not be one that some of the bigger players feel is worth their while going to. And so therefore, going after some of the smaller niches, some of the low-hanging fruit, might be better than trying to go for something that is more competitive. The next thing you want to do is to pick up a copy of the newspaper and have a look at the want ads and the job ads. Now, if somebody wants something badly enough to spend money on placing an ad, chances are they're not the only person out there looking. So therefore, it shows that there is a need to be filled. And if there's a job to be done, well, there's also a need to be filled and a skill to be learned and a skill to be taught. So that could be another niche or another sign that this niche could be profitable. And then finally, there are TV shows and radio discussions. And in particular, things like home shopping channels. I don't know about you, but I've never actually bought anything from one of these home shopping channels, but obviously people do. So therefore, if they can sell to that niche, if they can sell that product, it costs a lot of money to keep a TV station on air. You've got all sorts of people in the background that have to be paid. You've got all sorts of technicians. You've got, just the electricity bill for the lighting can be quite expensive. So if they are selling a product and it's selling well on one of these home shopping channels, then that should be a niche that you could investigate. Another thing is specialist subject TV programs. here in the UK, we have lots of programs about gardening and lots of programs about doing your house up and lots of programs about moving house and finding new houses and that sort of thing. So it just goes to show that that is a big niche. I'm not saying that's one that you should necessarily go after, but if there is enough interest in that particular niche for somebody to make a TV program or a TV series about it, then that shows that it is quite a large niche and it is a viable niche. The other thing is radio phone-ins. And if you've ever listened to a news talk station that's got a phone in, you'll know that people do like to get on and moan, particularly some of these ones that go out at night. You know, they'll just sit and moan. But actually, listening to what they have to say could well point you in the right direction, because if someone is unhappy about something, then they're looking for a solution, and you may be the one to provide it at a cost, of course. So these are all the things that you need to do first to do your preliminary research when you're starting to find a niche that you perhaps don't know anything about. And we'll continue this video in part 2, where I'll talk you through how you go about doing deeper research to make sure that this is the right niche for you and to make sure that it's going to be a profitable one for you. In the first part of this video, I talked you through doing the preliminary research if you're planning on going into a niche that you don't know a great deal about, or to find a niche that you don't know a great deal about. In this second part of the video, I want to talk you through doing the deeper research so that you'll know whether or not it's the right niche for you and whether or not you'll know it's a viable niche or not. Now, the first place to begin your deeper research is online. And there are several things that you'll want to do on the internet to carry out your research further. The first thing is to look at some forum discussions. What you do is you go to Google and you type in the name of your niche, followed by forum. And that should bring up several forums in your niche. If there aren't any, that might be indicative of a problem, and you might have to reconsider whether or not this is going to be a viable niche. But if there are forums on the subject, then the next thing you want to do is to spend some time reading the posts on the forums. You might have to join the forum. Most forums have the capability for you to join as a free member. Perhaps it's just to read, but that's all you want to do, really. You don't really want to post anything unless you happen to know something about the subject. So spend some time reading the posts and see what's being discussed. What questions do people have? What answers are they being given? And this is going to do two things, really. You're going to know what the wants and needs are in this particular niche. And it's also going to provide you with some information that you can use to create your own niche product, or that you can use to do further research and drill down even further in this niche. Let me give you an example here. Now, I'm using the search term dog training for this demonstration, and you can see here I've put dog training forum into Google, and you've got a lot of different forums here, all to do with dog training. Let's just click on that one, just so you can see what it looks like. And if I scroll down a bit, you can see you've got all sorts of different topics that you can look through that can give you some ideas as to niches to look for or subjects to build a niche product around. Another good site to look at is Yahoo Answers. And similarly to looking at forum sites, you want to see what questions are being asked, and you want to see what answers are being given. And what you do is you come here to answers.yahoo.com, and then you enter your question here into the box and click here where it says search answers. And following on our dog training theme from earlier, the question I put in here is best way to stop my dog from jumping up at people. And you can see there are several answers listed here, or several people have asked the question here, and they have various answers. And what you can do is simply click up on this link here, and then you can scroll and see the answers. And you've got here, some are good answers. Some people think it's funny to put flippant answers to these questions, but you can scroll through and find the best ones, and that will give you an idea as to the sort of things that people are looking for online. And you can use these answers also to help build a niche product, such as an ebook or video or something like that around the answers. If you have a specific question that you need to answer, or some specific information that you want to discover, then a good way to find that out is to ask people to answer a survey. So get people in that niche to respond to a survey, asking them what they want. And forum discussions and also Yahoo Answers will point you in the right direction. You'll want to offer an incentive for people to complete the survey, and that can be some sort of ebook, perhaps some repackaged private label rights product, which you can give away at minimal cost, but offers a high perceived value as an incentive for people to answer the survey, and they can only get through to the download page after they've finished going through the survey. And in order to get people to go to the survey page to begin with, the best way to do that is via a solo ad. So what you want to do is find someone who already markets to that niche, someone who has a newsletter or a mailing list, and then you pay them to send out a solo ad with some copy that tells the people what the survey is about, has a link to the survey page, and tells them what they'll get for taking part in the survey. And then you can use the response to that to do two things: to either to refine the sort of angle that you want to take when you're approaching this niche, but also to come up with ideas as to the right sort of product that you want to sell to this niche. There's a couple of tools that you can use to accomplish this. The first one is SurveyMonkey, which you'll find here at surveymonkey.com. And this is a hosted solution. There are both free and paid for versions, and you can read all about it on the page. If you have your own hosting, you might try downloading Lime Survey. You can get it from limesurvey.com. Or if you have Fantastico or Softalicious as part of your hosting package, you can probably install it directly from within the control panel. And the two types of software are very similar indeed. Now, once you've finished your online research, it's time to do some offline research to delve deeper into this niche. If you're going after a business-related niche, then you should talk to trade associations. Many occupations, many professions have trade associations or professional associations that you can talk to. You might even want to become an associate member to get access to their archive and to be able to go to meetings and that sort of thing. And linking up with a trade association does two things. First of all, it allows you to find out what's going on in this particular niche. It allows you to find out what the wants and needs of the people who are in this niche are. It also provides you with a valuable link to some potential customers when you actually start to launch your product, or when you start to launch your website or your blog, because you may well be able to form a joint venture with this association and reach your audience much more quickly. Another thing to do is to go to trade shows and exhibitions. Trade shows and exhibitions happen all the time. You might have to go to another city to attend one, but it's going to be money well spent. because you'll be able to see what's going on in this particular niche. You'll be able to see what products are available in this particular niche. You'll be able to see what your competitors are doing in this particular niche. And you'll also be able to find if there are any sub-niches within this particular niche, because you'll find that certain exhibitors at a trade show or exhibition only market to a particular segment of that niche. So you might be able to find a really profitable sub-niche by going to an exhibition. If you're going after a broader business-related niche and it's something to do with small or medium-sized businesses, and it's something that you can sell to your local area, then it's a good idea to join a chamber of commerce and talk to the people there and to find out what the needs are in this particular niche. Or if you're thinking about developing a niche product, you can sound people out as to whether it's something that people would want to buy. So you can do that before you invest the time and money in actually making the product. If you're going after a hobby niche, well, similarly, you want to join a club or society, and there are lots of hobby clubs. I think there's probably a club for every different hobby. Find one that's local to you, go to the meetings, talk to the members, find out what their wants and needs are, find out what's going on. And again, you can use it to not only find out information, but you can also use it to assess the potential profitability of any niche venture. In the personal niche, again, it depends what type of personal niche you're going after, but in some you might find that there's a support group, or there may be an association for people who have this interest. But again, you can ask around and find this information out. But regardless of whether you're going after a business, a hobby, or a personal niche, the key to finding information and the key to finding whether this particular niche is a viable one for you is to talk to others and ask questions. And when you do that, you'll get information, you'll find potential customers, and you'll meet potential collaborators for when it's time to create your own product. Because if this is a niche that you don't know a great deal about, you're going to want to bring other people on board to help you reach this market and to help you develop a product that's unique. So there you go. That's how you can research and assess the viability of a niche that you don't know anything about. Should you take a broad brush or a narrow beam approach to niche research? Well, I'm going to tell you in this video. Let me explain what I mean by a broad brush approach. A broad brush approach is where you take a topic that has wide appeal, you use popular keywords that are likely to get lots of searches, and everyone who has any interest in the subject whatsoever could use this search term. And this results in high search volume, but it also results in high competition. Now, when I talk about narrow beam, I mean a topic that has a highly specialized appeal, and it uses highly defined keywords. So only those people who have a specific interest in the subject will use those search terms. There's lower search volume, but there's less competition, so you stand a greater chance of making a sale. And you might call a narrow beam approach going after a sub-niche of a wider niche. To convert a broad brush topic down to a narrow beam one, you want to niche it down 3 times. So for example, let's say weight training. You could niche that down to weight training for women and then beginner weight training for women, because obviously that's a much more specialized subject So therefore, only women who are beginning weight training are going to be interested in this particular niche. And that can be to your advantage. If we look at this table here, you can see we've got the keywords, and we've got here the number of monthly searches in Google, the number of daily searches done in Google, the competition, that's the number of sites that are indexed in Google for that particular keyword, and the daily search ratio. And what that is the competition divided by the number of daily searches. So if everything was equally weighted, those are the probabilities that someone doing a search for that keyword will reach your site. Now let's just take a look at these. For weight training, you can see that there are 9,720 monthly searches, 324 daily searches, but the competition is 12,900,000 websites for that keyword. So your chances of getting to the first page of Google, let alone to the top position in Google, are going to be very, very slim. So the chances of somebody actually coming to your website, the daily search ratio is 39,814 to 1. So when you niche it down, you've got weight training for women, and that gives 6,480 monthly searches, 216 daily searches, and the competition is 327,000. But when you niche it down again, you've got beginner weight training for women. The monthly searches are much lower, only 384, and there's only 13 searches a day. But the competition is 7,700, and the daily search ratio is 592 to 1. So your chances of getting to the first page of Google and your chances of getting to the top position of Google are much better because you're not going up against so many competitors. So your chances of actually getting a hit to your website are 1 in 592, as opposed to 1 in 39,814. So you stand a much better chance of being able to access this much smaller market. You can be a big fish in a small pond as opposed to a minnow in the ocean. So if you're just starting out, if you're looking for a niche to dominate, the smaller the niche, the better. So niche it down, take a narrow beam approach, and you'll stand a much better chance of success. In this video, I want to talk you through my top 10 online niche research tools. And the first one is Google Trends, which you'll find here at google.com/trends. And I know I've talked about this in other videos, but it really is a highly versatile tool. You can find out information about topics, about keywords, about URLs. It's actually very, very versatile. Another site that I have bookmarked and use quite a lot is this one, which will find the most popular videos on YouTube. It's quite a long URL, so if you go to Google and type in most popular YouTube video or most popular videos on YouTube, then you'll be directed to the page for your country. I'm in the UK, so it's showing me the most popular videos in the United Kingdom, and you can get all sorts of information, so you can see exactly what's trending on YouTube right now. Then there's Pop URLs, and this lists the most popular searches on particular sites. For example, you've got Reddit or The Verge, Dig. Let's just scroll down a bit more. The Huffington Post, Metafilter, Longform. It's a whole lot of interesting information here. Google News, Hacker News, Slashdot, Wired, AOL, Wired News, Meta Cafe, got most popular videos here, Life Hacker, The Onion, all sorts of really interesting information. You can see what's popular on various popular websites, and it's worthwhile spending some time on this site to get an idea as to what's popular and what's trending at the moment. If you're going after a business niche, then a good site to look on is the Occupational Outlook Handbook that's published by the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. And you can go through and look at various occupation groups. You can look at different occupations. You can see sort of things like pay grades and that sort of thing. And if you're looking for a particular type of business niche, then this is a good site to look through just to get an idea as to what occupations are now popular. And you can find it at bls.gov/OOH. In a similar vein, you've got the Riley Guide, which you'll find here at rileyguide.com/trends.html. And this gives lots of information about businesses, about jobs, about trends, about the sort of occupations and sort of industries that are up and coming that perhaps you might want to focus on creating a product for, or ones which are perhaps on the slide and you should perhaps go away from. Let's just look here. Next one. If you're looking to get into a medical related niche or a health related niche, it's a good idea to look at this site here, which is Biomed Central, which you'll find here at biomedcentral.com. And it's got lots of articles on the latest things to do with biotechnology and health. And it's worthwhile spending some time here if you're looking to get into a medical related niche. Few keyword tools that I want to share with you. And the first one is the SEO Book keyword tool, and it gives you a lot of information here. You can do things like generate keyword lists, you can cross-reference from various search engines, and if you come to the site, you'll find that there's a video on the site which can explain it in a lot more detail than I have time to do here. But it is actually a very useful tool to have. As is this one here, which is Market Samurai, which you can find out more about at marketsamurai.com. And Market Samurai is a piece of software that runs on your desktop. And you can download a free trial edition. It is a paid-for piece of software, but like I said, you do get the free trial. Now, I'll be honest with you, it took me a while to get my head round Market Samurai because it does present the information in a slightly different way to some of the other keyword tools out there. But it is very comprehensive and you can get a lot of ideas for keywords. You can also find out things like what your competitors' keywords are. It can tell you things like links to sites, and it's expensive, but Market Samurai is well worth the money. Then there's SEMrush, which is a competitive data site. And what you do on SEMrush is you enter your domain into here and you can choose which version you want of Google. You can have the US version, or you can have other ones like Canada or Brazil. And you can also use things like Bing and so on. So you enter the domain into here, or you can have the keyword or URL, and it will show you the top 10 keywords that site ranks for. And so you can go through Google, find the most popular sites, enter the URL in here, and it will tell you what keywords they're ranking for organically, and that can be quite powerful. There's free and paid versions of this as well. With the free version, you're limited to 10 keywords. With the paid for version, you can get considerably more. Okay, last one is keyword discovery. And what this does is it has a massive database of keywords that are taken from all of the different search engines. And you can use it to find what's popular for your particular niche, or you can find the niches that are popular. So there's lots of different ways that you can use this. There is a free trial. It is a paid for piece of software, but it is worth subscribing to because you can get a lot of information. But like it says here on the site, there is a free trial. So there you go. These are my top 10 tools for niche and keyword research. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 ways to create your own niche products fast. And the first way to create your own niche product is to repurpose PLR materials. PLR stands for private label rights. And this is where the author or creator of a work sells the intellectual property rights along with that work. And these get sold to more than one person. And these can include things like articles, ebooks, videos, audio programs, and a whole lot more. Now, because PLR gets sold multiple times, you have to alter it to create something unique. So you should rewrite ebooks. You can combine several PLR ebooks to create one new ebook. You can split an ebook into several articles or blog posts. You can record yourself reading an ebook and turn it into an audio product. You can turn an ebook into a video. It can be just a simple slideshow video like this one. You can turn an audio presentation into a video. Just insert the MP3 into your video editing software and find pictures to match it. Or conversely, you can split the soundtrack from a video and turn it into an audio product. So you can simply extract that and sell it as an MP3 product. One thing that you can do to make a truly unique product from PLR is this. You can buy several PLR products on the same subject, be that a video or an ebook. It's probably best with ebooks to do it this way. And what you do is you combine them, and then you do some more research to see what's not been covered in these 2 ebooks, or perhaps might be out of date. You put this information into the combined work, and now you have something really unique, something that nobody else has. And you can then go ahead and sell that either with or without private label rights of your own. It's up to you, but you'll have a really unique product that way, and you can create it much more quickly than you would do if you had to go out and research every single part of the topic. Okay, the next way of creating a niche product very quickly is to use public domain materials. Now, public domain materials are materials where the copyright has expired or was never copyrighted in the first place. And in some countries, and I'm talking about particularly the US, government works are in the public domain from day one. In other countries, particularly the UK and some Commonwealth countries, government works are copyrighted in perpetuity, so you can't use them at all ever. So you do need to check. But public domain works can be repurposed in the same way as PLR content. And because it's in the public domain, you can use it and the result becomes yours. Now, you do have to be careful with public domain because copyright laws vary from country to country. If you're watching this video in the US, you have some of the simplest copyright laws in the world, and lots of things fall into the public domain. In other countries, it becomes much more complicated. So don't just assume that something is in the public domain. You want to check first, and unless you can be absolutely certain that something is in the public domain, it's best to assume that it is still copyrighted and leave it and move on to something else, because you don't want to run the risk of getting sued for copyright infringement. And you can find out more about public domain and public domain materials and copyrights in general on the Wikipedia page. just come to Wikipedia and type public domain into the search box and it'll take you to this page. Now, the final way to create a niche product really fast is to interview an expert. So you want to find someone who is an authority in your niche and get them to agree to be interviewed. You'll have to pay them, obviously, but you'll have a unique product that should sell for a premium price. And if the expert is well known, then their fans will buy the product simply because it's about the expert. Now, there are several ways that you can conduct the interviews. You can interview the expert in person, or you can interview them over the phone. If you're going to interview them over the phone, then it's better to use Skype for phone interviews because the audio quality is much better. And if you're going to interview the expert in person, then try to video the interview. If you do this, you want to get a professional videographer or a professional crew to come in and do this for you, unless you are skilled in this particular thing. Because poor lighting and bad audio can render your video worthless. And for the same reason, I don't recommend that you do video interviews over Skype because you never know exactly what it's going to look like. The fact that you could have someone just simply talking to their webcam on their laptop, the lighting could be bad, the audio could sound boxy, and so on. So what you really want to do is to have a professional crew video your interview if the expert will allow you to do so. And you can create several products from an interview. If you've been able to get the interview videoed, then you can release it as a video, and you can release that online. You can have it as a video download, or you can create it into a physical product, a DVD or a Blu-ray disc. For an audio, if it's something that you've recorded via Skype, or if it's the audio track from your video, because you can rip the audio from the video and sell that as a separate product, and that can be downloaded either from your website or you can release it on sites like iTunes. For an ebook, well, you can take your interview and have it transcribed, and you can rewrite it slightly so that it flows better in a written form. You can expand on it with information that you've got from other sources, or combine it with information that you've got from interviewing other experts to make something that's really unique. And you can release that as a PDF from your website, and you can also sell e-reader versions of it for things like the Amazon Kindle. And finally, you can also have a physical book. You can reformat it again so that it fits more into a written format, and you can sell it via print-on-demand sites like Amazon CreateSpace. So you can get several different products just from a single interview. And the best part is you can have all these products ready to go in only a few days. It only takes a few days to contact the expert, arrange to do the interview, create at least one product and get it out there to your audience. So you can start to market to your newly found niche very, very quickly. We've covered a lot of ground in this video series, and your head might be spinning a bit from all the information. So let's just recap and go over what we've learned so far. First of all, most people do niche research the wrong way. They find a popular niche and they think they can make a killing in it, only to find that it's oversaturated and has lots of well-established competitors. They fail miserably, they get disenchanted, and they give up. So to do niche research correctly, you need to develop the right mindset. A solution to any problem or need is a niche. So you need to look at the world through the eyes of a problem solver. In other words, you need to find a void and then fill it. That's as simple as it comes. So start with what you already know. And you know more than you think you do, and you have more experience than you think you have. And you can think about this. Think about the three broad niches that are out there, that most markets fall into. There's business, hobby, and personal life. And I'm sure you have experience in at least two of those three niches. And you can still tackle a subject even if you don't know it. It just needs more research. So you want to do your preliminary research and you want to start online, and you want to look at sites like Google Trends, at tetrapeak.com to find the best-selling eBay products. You want to look at Amazon.com's bestsellers, and you want to look at whatstrending.com to see what's trending on social media, to see what people are talking about, what people are interested in. Then you carry on your research offline by looking at magazines, because if there's a magazine on a subject, then that's a viable market, because magazines cost a lot of money to print. Newspaper want ads and job ads are another good thing to look at when you're looking for a niche, because if there's a job to be done, then there's a need to be filled. And you also want to look at TV shows and radio discussions, particularly home shopping channels, to see what products are popular, and radio talk programs to see what people are phoning in to talk about. Then you want to delve in and do some deeper research. You want to do some deeper research online. First of all, you want to look at forum discussions. You want to see what sort of things people are talking about. You want to see the questions that they're asking. You want to see the answers that they're being given, because this is going to give you a lot of information as to people's concerns in this particular niche. So go to Google, type in the name of your potential niche, followed by forum, and see what the results are. Another thing to do is to look at the questions and answers on Yahoo Answers. Similarly to forum discussions, that's going to give you an idea as to what the interests are in this particular niche. And if there are lots of questions and lots of answers, then you'll know that it could be a very viable niche. And finally, you could carry out a survey. You could use Lime Survey or SurveyMonkey for this. Send out a solo ad to someone who has a mailing list in this niche, ask your question, and offer some sort of an incentive for people to complete the survey. Then you want to go offline. If you're going after a business niche, then talk to a trade association or go to a trade show to find out what the concerns are and to assess the size of the market. If it's a hobby, then join a club or a society and again talk to the members, find out what's going on. But generally, to find out things about a niche, just talk to others, ask questions, and find out what the answers are. And of course, if you're finding out people's concerns, if people have a gripe, they'll be quite happy to tell you, and then you'll know what the problem is and you can find a solution with your niche-based product. It's better to take a narrow beam approach than a broad brush one. So you'll get fewer searches, but there's less competition, so you stand a greater chance of success. And you want to niche down 3 times. So, for example, in the weight training niche, you could say weight training for women, and beginner weight training for women. Beginner weight training for women is going to get fewer searches than just weight training, but there's a lot less competition. So if you're just starting out, you stand a much better chance of dominating this niche than you would do the general weight training niche. And there are tons of online tools to assist you in niche research. For affiliate products, you want to check out ClickBank, JVZoo, and Warrior Plus. They're the 3 main affiliate sites that are going to get you good results because they are good products by people who know what they're doing. And you can also find out how viable a niche is by checking out the number of different products that there are already being sold to it. And you can create your own niche products quickly and easily. You can repurpose PLR content. You can use public domain materials, or you can interview an expert, and you can do that either over the phone or in person. And finally, research is one thing and actually doing is another. So once you've managed to find your niche, once you've managed to get an idea as to the profitability of this niche, the next thing to do is to take action and start marketing to that niche. And I wish you every success.